you get out into nature a lot, it seems.
Yes, I definitely have to. I find otherwise I tend to go a little bit nuts.
Oh man, has
Yeah.
that's been since you were a child? Like you've been like that always?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've been a very intuitive child growing up. When I was younger, I was diagnosed with cancer and I had health issues growing up. I spent about 2 years in a hospital. So I just don't like to be inside for too long because I spent so much of my life inside and we did school inside for 12 years. So that's like a lot of your life spent sitting in a chair indoors, so
Right.
trying to make up for it.
Oh my gosh, and it definitely seems like it. Like you seem very active, very vibrant. Just feeling your energy right now, just feeling your energy, feeling your smile, just feeling your jovial nature. And is
Yeah.
there anywhere nearby?
Yes, yeah, there sure is actually. Oh, there's a delivery van. Here we go. I found a
Okay,
nice
beautiful.
little some
Beautiful.
rocks to sit on. There
Awesome.
we go.
Awesome. So I did not know that, Eloise. I had no idea that you were diagnosed with that at an early age. You're saying, how old were you?
Yeah. I was 4 when I was diagnosed, so very new to the world.
What what was that even? I mean, do you even recall what you were going through during that time or how you came out of that? Can you just talk about that? Because I had no idea.
Yeah, so I'm a very observant, I've always been very observant and very intuitive before I even got diagnosed with the cancer. I remember having really vivid dreams even before, and a great memory as like a 2, 3-year-old. I can actually remember some of my dreams from back like when I was 2 or 3, and like memories and things like that. Just so excited by life that things just stuck in my brain really well and able to remember things super well. So having then going through a tough experience, I'm much of an analyst, and maybe it's the Virgo in me. If you follow star signs, I analyze everything, and so going through this tough experience, I wanted to learn from it kind of as much as I could. So I was kind of amazed by what I was going through and a little bit. This is busy for the morning. Normally this road isn't this busy, but yeah, so I was quite bewildered by what was going on as well. So I do have a lot of very vivid memories, and there was tough times, but it's a gift and a blessing, Hard times are gifts and blessings. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Oh my goodness. So when you were 4, what type of cancer was it that they diagnosed?
So it was the most common type of childhood cancer, which is called acute lymphoblastic leukemia. So it's blood cancer, and it's in your bone marrow and in your blood.
Oh my gosh. So when you say that it was a curse and a blessing, when you say it was a blessing, what about it do you feel was a blessing?
Um, the connection and the early lessons learnt in life that had then propelled me to be on the path that I'm on now, which is I find it's a lot further than a lot of other people my age because I'm only 20 at the moment. I feel so much younger than 20, but also way older than 20 at some time. And I find also, some kids my age are having the same experiences where we're kind of having to adapt quicker because the world kind of throws such snowballs at you from such a young age these days in the Western civilization, at least, I feel like, with all of the prescriptions and pills and chemicals and all of these things that are kind of having hindrance on our life force energy. So we're kind of having to adapt by maybe recovering from a sickness or just having to learn quicker that okay, this world actually isn't maybe working for me as a young child, and then having to kind of grow up a little bit earlier than maybe previous generations
Right,
before.
right. So an old soul, having to grow up really quick, having to grow up fast. And, you know,
Yeah.
Eloise, when you're talking about this, you said it's acute, but it's a common child, like common for children. What about it? What were the factors that led to it? Like, how does something like that manifest in most children?
Yeah, so for me, the physical aspects were, so my legs were, if that's what you're meaning, the physical aspects, like
Yeah, like
how, like,
what brings it about? Like, how does it even manifest? What brings it?
yeah, so I think like stress, trauma in the family tree, maybe. I think that was a big thing for me. There was a lot of undealt with traumas on my dad's side and on my mum's side. Especially on my dad's side, he had a really tough upbringing, and I still notice he stores a lot of it inside of him. But him and my mum's beautiful relationship have helped bring so much of that out of him and up to the surface so that he can release that. But yeah, in a child, if before you have a child, ideally what you want to do is kind of put yourself in a position so that your child isn't a result of all of those maybe negative emotions and things that have been kept down. You want to kind of do the work at least a little bit before you decide to have a child, so
Okay.
that you can have the resources. So there was that was a big factor for sure, I think. And then I guess you can also account for lifestyle. So if the parents before are using drugs or chemicals, or the location they're living, maybe it's not a nature-rich area and they're in the city and lots of stress. So all of these things, causing kind of an acidic environment or a negative environment in the body, and then to pass that on to a child.
Wow. So, with this being passed on to you, like, of course, you didn't choose this, but it, you were like, it manifested. So when you said that you had to adapt very quickly, what do you feel were some of the most challenging things that you had to overcome? Like, I don't even know what kind of conversations that they had with you. Were you supposed to not survive for very long? Like, did they have conversations like that?
Yeah, so the community that I was part of, their cancer center, so where they did, because I went through chemotherapy, there was a lot of alternative therapies that happened in that hospital. So I had a beautiful, really down-to-earth young lady who would play music to me every Tuesday, and she lighted up in me the power of music and how music heals. Because in my body, when she played me these these positive tunes, I felt in my body so much healing was happening. Like, I actually felt like things inside of me were vibrating with goodness when, like, physically, I felt like I could feel things like vibrating inside me, and my hair was like standing up on my head, it felt like, and I was like, what is happening right now? I feel like I'm like magic inside of me. So that totally made me believe in magic if I didn't already beforehand. Like, I always believed in magic, but when you're told that you're sick, kind of, and you're in this environment where all these kids are sick and they're having to get needles put in them, and lots of different medical treatments that are quite harsh and invasive, and then your spirit kind of gets downed a bit from that. So to have that music bring in, just to feel the magic again of, wow, we actually can heal in ourselves. It almost puts that in your head as a child. I believe we have this innate knowing that we know we can heal ourselves for sure, especially if our environment around us can show us that and can mirror us that. So that's what things like the alternative therapies, like the music therapy, did. And also the nurses there were so funny. I remember I had this young student nurse. He came in, his name was Peter, and he would come in with all of these masks, and he would play little tricks on you, and he was just a little jokester, and he would bring in, like, I think he maybe did a performance growing up, because maybe he was in the circus, would bring in juggling balls. And yeah, and also there was clowns that would come in and entertain you. And so there was a lot of positive healing modalities that happened in this like big, like westernized facility. Like sometimes you would think, like for example, the first hospital I was with, there was a McDonald's on the second ward.
Wow.
Below the children's cancer ward. It was all sponsored by McDonald's. There was a huge McDonald's like bar down there, scary Ronald McDonald clowns like under there. It was quite wacky. And so we decided the second week in that we were not going to go with that hospital, because I don't think I would have had much of a chance of healing if I stayed in that hospital.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Thank you for just sharing this, you know, Eloise, like thank you for sharing your experience, because like you're really painting a picture and you're bringing us into your world during that time, because it sounds like, you know, and I'm sure you've heard this before, Eloise, but you know, they talk about, you know, when a flower is not doing well, you don't change the flower, but you change the environment, you know. You change the soil, you change the environment that the flower is in, and then the flower can flourish and blossom and bloom. So, you know, full disclosure, there was actually, you know, one of my really good friends, his sister, his older sister, she went through chemotherapy not too long ago. It was last year, and she didn't make it. You know, she didn't survive the chemo. So I've heard that people say that. I mean, I've heard people say that that's some of the most. I mean, it's one of the most things. Like you can't even describe it. I can't. Like, can you? If you could describe what the chemo was like, how would you even describe it?
So it's almost like as someone gets a vacuum and sucks the goodness out of you. So it's like you really want to be happy, but you've got someone that just keeps. In school, it's almost similar. It's quite similar to the feeling of when you're being picked on at school, and you feel your energy inside of you just be sunk into the ground all the time, sunk back into the ground. And essentially that's what chemo is doing to you, because it's harming it's harming your life force energy inside of you, your vital forces. So it's just like someone's getting a vacuum. I'm not sure. So say you're doing chemo once or twice a week. Like for one day, you just get all your life force energy just vacuumed out of you completely, like vacuumed, and you're just like, ugh. And when I was going through chemo, I think they also had me on steroids as well at the same time. So you'd go around, you'd have the chemo, and then you'd have the steroids. So the chemo would suck out all your life force energy, and then you would get steroids. So you would get this crazy energy. And because you were also negatively being impacted and then having steroids on top of that, it was like a funny example would be maybe the carnivores that go on steroids, and they're like really angry and they're like pumped up from their workout, but they have this like negative energy from it and they're angry. So it's like all these angry kids are riding around outside in the indoor playground on their scooters, like, you know, mad, like angry little kids, like pumped up on steroids and just had chemo. It's like a bit crazy.
Oh my God.
That's how Yeah, my mum describes it as that quite often actually when she's telling somebody else what it was like for the little kids to be on the
Oh
chemo.
my goodness. So chemo, steroids, and you're saying there were days where the life just felt like it was being siphoned and vacuumed, you said just sucked out of your body.
Yeah.
So when there's been so many people, Eloise, that have gone through this, procedure and these therapies that have given up during the process and said, you know what, just let me go. Like I don't want to do this anymore. What did you hold on to? Like what was the thing that you cling to keep you going?
Yeah, so believing in magic, I think, was a big thing. I had a lot of inspiration around me, although I was talking about like trauma on my dad's side of the family and also a bit of trauma on my mum's side of the family. The thing that kind of kept distilled the hope inside of me was the fact that these family systems were still coming together despite brokenness and hardship, especially on my mum's side of the family. They're super inspiring. They migrated from England. They used to be poor. They just held their family together with such love and goodness, even though there was just so much despair at the same time. And when you can really hold on to that together as a family and go on a journey and follow your heart and move countries when you think all else, might fail, and be able to stick together like that, that really helped me because that side of the family could show me that like love and connection is real, like no matter what you're going through, and it makes magic happen. And then on my dad's side, they weren't really present for any of my sickness because they were quite traumatized from their upbringing. So I didn't see any of my dad's side at all really through that, but that was okay because my mum's family actually kind of like adopted my dad as their own son, kind of. So they supported my dad in the ways that his family wouldn't have been able to, which really then helped him be able to be there for me when I was sick. So my dad was the one who stayed every night in the hospital with me and watched movies with me. We used to watch Willy Wonka all the time. He used to go and buy me sweets and just everything colourful and yeah, played lots of music with him. And funnily enough, the music therapist from the hospital, which the hospital is like an hour away, she actually goes to the school, like alternative school my dad works at. He works at a Steiner school. I'm not sure if you've heard of Rudolf Steiner.
The name kind of sounds familiar, kind of.
Yeah. So he's basically I wouldn't say he's kind of like a god. Like it's like a bit of like a spiritual like alternative way of learning. Like the kids it's a very natural way, like a Montessori school kind of.
I
Like the
got that.
kids
Yeah.
are
Okay.
outside a lot, and yeah, there's
That's
lots of like nature craft and music and these things. So yeah, she actually like, goes to that school that my dad works
beautiful.
at. So that's funny, yeah. Oh, I got a bit sidetracked there. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, the way like I clung on through the whole thing. So, yeah, there was lots of movies and inspiration and creativity, and the hospital that we moved to was actually more facilitated around young children and helping them prosper and heal in the best way possible through their cancer journey, even though it was using also Western medicines as
I
well.
see.
My head doctor, even though he never gave me a super straight answer whether or not I was going to heal, he just had a very beautiful personality behind him where he was like, look, we don't know what will happen, but what will happen is like what is like almost like your destiny. Like it was like he had just had this belief in you, even though he was unsure in himself. Like he was like not sure. He doesn't know the answers to life, but he knows that there was goodness in life, and he was able to show you that every time in his personality when he was doing these checkups with you, and just like crack little jokes and tickle you whilst he was checking all your vital signs, and just really bring out joy in the children. So yeah, he's a really special man, even though I don't really agree with a lot of the Western medicines. I still think he's a really special man, and I'm very grateful for all of the nurses and doctors, yeah, at that place.
Wow. Wow, Eloise. Thank you for this. Oh my gosh, I'm just really imagining you in these scenarios with these people around you that are just keeping the positive energy up. They're just keeping the frequency up. They're keeping the vibration up. They're in this facility. And thank goodness for people like Peter, juggling and doing the circus acts with the masks, and, the music therapist playing those frequencies and healing music, and, the head doctor just giving you positive affirmations. And even though he doesn't know the secrets, he doesn't know the results, but he just gives you that feeling of destiny, and this is going to work out, something's going to happen, something great will come of this. And even your father, like having that support system of family around you to watch things like
Yeah,
Willy Wonka, of all things. That's pure imagination, right? Pure
exactly.
imagination. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something also that really helped my healing was my dad. He's quite a mystical person. He used to read like dragon books, like trilogy, like books about dragons and like sorcerers. And my favorite movies growing up were like The Never-Ending Story and The Little Mermaid, and what else? Just like really fantasy. The Dark Crystal. I don't know if you've heard of these ones.
I remember the Dark Crystal.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
yeah, these. Yeah, it's like my favorite movies, and some of them were a little bit scary watching them in hospital. Even my dad let me watch the whole Doctor Who series in hospital as a 4-year-old, which definitely had a negative side effects a little bit, but it was also the imagination part of it. I'm not sure if you've heard of Doctor Who. It's like a
Yeah.
sci-fi English. Yeah,
Do
it's funny.
you remember, Eloise, do you remember those bird-like creatures from the Dark Crystal? Do you remember?
Yeah,
What
they're
were
a
they called?
bit
What were they called?
freaky. I can't remember. I think I blocked it out. They're a bit scary.
They were like these bird-like creatures. They would have these long necks, and just like, it was like these creatures from the Dark Crystal. But then there were also these benevolent characters that I think they could speak to each other. Like they had like telepathy. They
Yeah,
had
the
different.
older ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually had an experience recently. I went up and did a permaculture course up in the tropics in Australia, and I linked up with this my mum's beautiful friend. She had a friend who had a house up in this beautiful town called Mullumbimby in Australia, which is just a magical community up there. There's so many magical creatures, human beings up there that are just on a different level of just, I felt like I finally had found my tribe. And I know there's so many of those around out there, but it was like I magnetized to these people, and the only way I could describe the way they were, this older family, was like those beings in the Dark Crystal. They wore very drapey clothes, and they were kind of like just these like bigger, like motherly and fatherly creatures, and they were so sharp. They just like knew everything. Just you could just tell they knew things like just by looking at them. It was amazing. So that was funny actually. I felt like I've lived the Dark Crystal this year.
Yeah. Sounds like it, and your vibe attracts your tribe. That's what they say, your vibe attracts your tribe. So, when you were just real quick, could you briefly recall that the session with the music therapy with the music therapist, what kind of music was she having you listen to? Like what kind of frequency medicine? Like what kind of music was this nourishing you?
Yeah, so she was playing her guitar and singing to me, and she was just playing very uplifting chords, very, like major chords, and she was just she's so beautiful, and just having a raw instrument being played to you rather than something through a speaker or a phone, I think is so much more powerful because you're getting to see the physical aspect of it as well, and the acoustics of the metal and then the wood, and it coming the sound coming through something that's very organic. I felt like yeah, the tones that came through were just so invigorating to my cells. I actually, yeah, it was vibrating. Like I got so excited, all my hair's standing up, and on my head especially, and like
Yeah.
vibrating. And then yeah, I was like, wow, magic is real every time she played it to
Wow.
me. Because yeah, when you come from a place of so low, I think when those things happen, you feel it so much. It's like yeah, it's like if you I have abstinence from something for a long time, and then it's just amplified so much when it comes back in, you know.
And what do you feel like people take for granted about music in general? The people that kind of just listen to music every day, but they don't really realize the raw power of music itself, like the magical nature of it. What do we take for granted, you'd say?
Oh, um, I guess yeah, like when you just put your headphones in like all day, or you're listening to music all day. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like what do you feel like people don't
Yeah, it kind
realize what's
of
actually.
takes the goodness out of it. Oh, there's so much connection that happens from music, especially when you play music with other people. Like it's so magical. It's so intimate as well. Playing music with another person. It's like it's almost like having you have a real deep connection with that person. It's almost like yeah, it's almost like you feel like you can do anything when you can play music well with somebody as like a form of telepathy or something like that. You
Yeah.
feel like, wow, so connected to the other people because you're managing to make sounds as a collaboration together.
Yeah, even us right now, Eloise, we're actually making sounds right now, Like I mean, we know what we're talking about. Like we both speak English, the English language, so we can understand and interpret the sounds that we're making. But if somebody didn't understand the language, we're just making sounds right now, you know? We're just back and forth.
Yeah,
We're
it's
just
so funny.
making sounds back and forth to each other. That's all we're really doing. But there's a music within it that you can feel, that you can understand, that you can say something and you can transfer that energy. It's like an energy transmission when you tap into your joy, when you tap into your peace, when you tap into your own happiness. You're actually transmitting it to me through the phone, you know yeah.
Yeah,
So
likewise.
yeah. So there was something that I saw. It was the study of cymatics. Have you ever heard of cymatics?
Oh yes, and like sacred geometry, and then also music combined. Yeah.
Right. So they see the effect that sound frequencies have on water, have on sand, have on granular structures, like different things. And they noticed in the study of cymatics that that these sound frequencies were making these sacred geometrical patterns in the water and in the sand, and like in so many things that are physical matter, but they're making these beautiful patterns and these beautiful shapes. And if they say that we're made of so much water and our bodies is made of so much water, then I would only assume that the music is doing that within us. Those geometrical shapes are happening in us. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember when I first discovered Dr. Moto and that video on YouTube where it explains the rice experiment, and it shows when you say good things upon the water and then you freeze it, and it freezes like this beautiful snowflake.
Right.
Oh, I love the snow. I go to the snow every winter myself. I'm a long time skier, and it makes me so happy whenever I can see a snowflake. Because if you have good eyesight and you look very very closely, you can actually make out a snowflake. And it's not very often that you actually find a snowflake, especially in Australia, because the weather's a little bit warmer, so that tends to melt a bit more often. So the snow has to be really good. But yeah, it must mean there's goodness up in the sky if you are looking at a snowflake. That maybe is a good thought from somebody. That's maybe it's someone thinking, I do believe in fairies,
There's
and then the snowflake fell down.
there's goodness. There's goodness, absolutely. I love being around people. I love listening to people. I love being in the energy of people like yourself that believe in goodness, that believe in magic, that believe in fairy tales, that just believe in possibilities. I love being around people like yourself that just have a mind that can be a container for that kind of consciousness. Like, there's so many, people that they think the opposite, or they might not really see the good, or that's not their focus. So that's not what's expanded in their reality. But I can tell for you, just feeling your smile, just your energy, your voice, your tonality, that is your mentality and that is your reality, you know? So like, just thank you for never giving up, thank you for cultivating, nurturing, that flower within you. Yeah.
Yep. Something I love to say, which is a bit of a funny saying, is fake it until you make it. So even if you, you don't believe it at the time, just keep saying it to yourself, and then eventually it will come back around full circle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When it comes to saying things over and over to yourself, even if you have to, quote unquote, fake it until you make it, or be it until you see it, like, what were some have there been affirmations that you've spoken or listened to or wrote down? Like, have there been affirmations that have helped you in life?
Yeah, many different affirmations. Actually, Ram Dass's one, I am loving awareness, is something that I tend to say a lot, meaning you are loving the awareness and you are inside yourself loving awareness.
Beautiful. I am loving
So just
awareness.
saying that, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that loving awareness, to be able to, have victory over cancer, to overcome chemo, to overcome all those obstacles, all the adversity, all the opposition that was in your field, and then to now be here, years later, in your 20s now, and what led you to regenerative living? Like, what led you to just the practice, the awareness of regenerative living? Like, why did you feel like you wanted to get into that?
I think from feeling like, probably believing in magic actually was a big thing, because magic regenerates you. You feel inside of you. So like keep like you just yeah keep, like a snowball, like you keep going, like there's always more to life. So I think with that thought kind of has definitely brought in regenerative living. And then I've always lived outside, kind of in nature, and a very simple life growing up. So it was very like chop wood and carry water. I'm not sure if you've heard that saying from Buddha. Oh, that's another affirmation that I love. Before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water, and after enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. And that's yeah, that's I'd say a big thing in my my own life is I got caught up for a little bit in and I love getting caught up in spirituality and magic clearly, but sometimes it would almost overwhelm me. Like I would get so caught in it, and I go up to my mum's kind of a young teenager having all of these really intense spiritual experiences, just maybe from dreams most of the time. And I would go, Mom, none of this is real, and I would be freaking out, and she'd always be able to bring me back down to the ground. And it was almost like, even though she wasn't saying word for word, before enlightenment chop wood and carry water, after enlightenment chop wood and carry water, it was almost like she would just remind me that everything is still here regardless of what else is going on in your life. Like you always have the foundations of living, because you are here in human existence. Even though she wasn't able to say that to me word in word, that's the feeling that I grasped inside. And my family upbringing was we would go out and collect wood for the fires in the winter and bring it back home, and chop it all up by hand and put it all in the shed for the years to come. Like sometimes 5 years worth of firewood we would collect, and we go up and get spring water every 3 months and fill the whole back of the car with liters and liters of water for our family to drink. So yeah, that having those foundations growing up throughout my life, they're very healing things to grow up with. And when you have just these set practices, no matter else what is going on in the family, conflict, things like this, these little things just bring a community together so much. And it teaches our bodies and our minds that no matter what, we can still come back together as a family, no matter what else is going on. Even if we're having conflict, we still do this even in conflict, and that's a very powerful practice to have.
Yes, and it's such a powerful message, just a powerful message of coming back together. Like, no matter what, we can come to a resolution, we can come to resolve, like, we can come to ourselves. And I love how your mother, was someone in your life that, would be able to bring you back to earth, bring you back to your body, bring you back to the oneness, that presence, just like the I am, like, it's okay. And I love that she gave you that reassurance to let you know that it's going to be fine. Come what may, it'll all be okay. All is well. We
Yeah.
need people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, which is so funny because a lot of the time when people meet her, she's very, I think ADHD, I'm not sure if you've heard of that, is the word kind of for my mum. Like she can be very off with the fairies, but at the same time, absolutely not, completely opposite, I feel like. So, yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're talking about being in nature, clearly, you enjoy being in nature. And someone told me that, the forest is for rest. They said the forest is for rest. Like
Oh, I
being
haven't
out in the,
heard that one before. I love that.
yeah, you
Wow.
know? So it's no wonder, that regenerative living and being out in nature goes hand in hand. Because, Eloise, I know you're not only you're a tree hugger, but you're also a tree climber. Like you really commune with the trees. So what have the trees done for you, throughout your life? What relationship have you had with trees?
Yeah, so whenever I kind of feel lonely, and I think humans in general have this relationship, we might not recognize it, and sometimes we might not choose to recognize it either. But trees are alive and they're tall and they have a lot of the same things inside of us as we do, shape-wise, and it's almost like they're a person, and when you have someone tall stand over you, it's comforting as well, especially if they have a nice energy. It's quite comforting to have somebody taller kind of stand over you and like almost like hug you. That's what trees kind of feel like with their branches. And yeah, so whatever if I have feelings of loneliness inside of me, I can just go and hug a tree or climb a tree, and instantly you feel so connected again with like, and you're like, oh, everything's okay. It's a breath of fresh air. Like these trees are literally providing me with life. So it feels like, yeah, the life force is kind of going back inside of you when you climb a tree or when you hug a tree or just take notice of the things that are living around you, because it reminds you that you can live as well with very little and be very happy with it.
Beautiful. That's simplicity, simplicity, you know? And just, I love that because even as you're climbing the tree, you know, the tree is literally holding you in its branches, you know, you're being held, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's really such a nice relationship.
So
Yeah.
there's like this wisdom, you know, there's this safety and security of being held by this wise old tree, this wise old being that has been here for, you know, who knows how many years, maybe even centuries, you know, like who knows all the things
Yes.
have seen.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I often forget that the trees have been here for so long as well, but you also feel that in their presence, like they're older something, an older nurturing energy. Um, because some of the trees around here, man, they're so old. Some of them like 200 years old. Like this has been a long time. I've seen some horse in carts because we didn't have proper roads up here until only, I reckon, the 70s. I think we didn't have proper roads up here, so people were still getting around for horse in carts up here. Um, so yeah, I think that's funny. The trees have seen horse in carts.
Everything, horse and buggy, they've seen
That was a while ago.
wow, yeah. And they, you know, it's like, wow, they got a long memory. So they've seen so much of human civilization evolve. They've seen us go through struggle. They've seen us go through times of peace, times of war, times of everything, you know? So Nabiha, as you were speaking, Eloise, Nabiha said that she loves climbing trees as well. And we have
Yeah.
Benjamin said that I think this is why we all feel pulled towards trees as children. I used to get yelled at my mom for climbing way up in them. Can you relate?
Yes, I still do. It's so funny. Yeah, whenever I go to a park, actually, because a lot of the time, when I'm driving in my car, it takes a little bit of time to get around up here. It takes like 30 minutes to get to, like, from town to town, kind of. So I'll get out of my car and go, like, run to the park quickly, and then go and climb a tree, and it's really funny. The looks I get from the mothers who don't want their kids to climb the trees, and then the kids go, but mommy, I want to climb it, and then she's up there, and they're like, no, and then I'm like, oh, what do I do? I'm like a bad influence, but I'm also not a bad influence. This is like the best influence, you know. Come up here.
Right. I just beckoning, come on up, come on up. You know, Nabiha as well, she said that, you know, the only times I remember getting in serious trouble was when I would get lost in the forest. I used to build on top of the trees. And, you know,
Oh wow.
go ahead.
I just said wow, build on top of the trees, yeah.
And, you know, speaking of getting lost in forest, you know, there was a friend not too long ago who was telling me, and I think they might live in Sweden or Germany or somewhere around there where there's nature, or somewhere in the United Kingdom. But, you know, they were talking about, you know, different fairies and fae beings that they've seen in the forest. And they even seen dragons, like dragons have revealed themselves, like maybe like boom, real quick and then vanished, you know? So I was wondering, have you seen any beings on your journeys through the forest? Have you ever seen any beings reveal themselves to you, like from beyond the veil?
Oh, yeah, that's a really good question. So recently, I think it was about last year, I was on a forest walk with my cousins, and they have this like me, but they have this instilled like belief that they know there's like other things out there, and we're walking through the forest together, and we're just like, whoa, look at that over there. And like it was like yeah, like these shapes in the trees we were seeing in the distance that all felt like gnomes or something. Like there was other creatures just there looking at us, even though maybe we weren't able to make out exactly what they looked like. But yeah, as we got closer, it was almost like it felt like they were kind of like hiding away from us. So I definitely I haven't seen anything physically, but I have felt um, felt like there's really a strong presence of other beings, yeah, in forests and things like this, especially around where I live. We have some really old forests, or old growth forests, yeah, and you really feel like you're being in the presence of something older or wiser or cheekier, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Cheeky is a good word for it too, like they were telling me about how they can play tricks sometimes, they can be little jokesters or little tricksters, or they can be very cunning and very, very playful that way. But yeah, she was saying that they reveal themselves to us, you know, when they want to reveal themselves. Like if they don't want us to see them, then we won't see them, but it's awesome that you were able to even feel and make out the presence of them there looking at you from over there. You could tell that there were beings that were kind of watching you. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So when it comes to, regenerative living as well, I know on your page you really talk about, in your bio it says fruit dealer, and you have a lot of fruits on your page. So where does fruit come into the picture when it comes to regenerative living? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was about 3 years ago now. I was 17 and I was still dealing with health issues and a lot of stress in school, actually. I was quite confused and kind of feeling a bit beaten up by the school system, especially during COVID as well. I wasn't really much of a believer in any of that. We lived in the hills and we had a lot of freedom regardless of any rules that were happening. There was really no policing or anything like that, I felt. So COVID was a blessing for me because it gave me space from school and time to be outside and go and catch up with my friends, and build a connection, which is funny because during that time so many people had the opposite experience of lack of connection. But for me it was really my time to kind of dive deep into researching and reconnecting with myself. I did a lot of music. I didn't really do any of my studies at school apart from music. I just did my music and kind of healed myself a bit through the music after feeling defeated from school and being stressed, because that's what my environment was portraying around me. It was in the last couple of years of high school where it generally starts to get a bit more intense, and a lot of people were crying and had health problems themselves. And yeah, I was suffering with some health issues as well. And so I started doing research on healing modalities and fasting and all of these different things. And I tried out myself fasting, and I did a 4-day water fast by myself, and it was an incredible experience. Yeah, it was amazing. I found out about raw foods as well, and I found out about like yeah, how much lighter it makes you feel because you're literally filling yourself with life, which made so much sense to me because growing up with cancer and going through chemo, it gives you these crazy cravings for weird foods. And I remember the only times I actually felt good were the times when I was eating fresh food, fruits and veggies. And all of the other times I just felt, yeah, you just feel like crap when you put these things inside of you. So yeah, came across raw foods and I started healing myself basically, and I realized though, yes, fruits and raw foods, they do have a big place, but it's not even 50 50% of what what else you need to do, you know, to heal yourself. There are so many other aspects to food. Food is just one really small, I feel like, piece to the recipe, and it doesn't even have to be a piece to the recipe. As we know, like, there are so many people out there who don't even use food at all really as forms of nourishment. So it was a matter of, it was a bit of a rabbit hole for me for understanding that nourishment doesn't just come from the foods you're putting in or things you're putting in. It's also your environment and the other things around you. But yeah, I am a raw foodist at the moment, and I do believe in fasting and, yeah, regenerative living. So I work at an organic shop at the moment, so that's why I love also to get outside so much as I can, because inside a lot of my time is spent restocking the shelves with organic fruits and veggies, which I think is a very cute job to have, honestly. And the community keeps me there because there are so many amazing people that come to this shop. And we can bounce back ideas like we are right now, you and myself. And it tends to be what a lot of my day is spent, putting out fruits and veggies on the shelf whilst I'm having amazing conversations, bouncing back with customers and sharing resources. And I've gained so much free knowledge and experiences just through working at this place. So yeah, that's where the name fruit dealer comes from in my bio.
I see. Cute job. I love that. You know, what an awesome job to be able to, and you're putting your energy into it as well. Like, you're putting your love into it, even as you're stocking the shelves with these fruits and veggies. Like, you know, you're putting so much love into these things that these people are going to enjoy whenever they grab them. And, you know, it seems like such a conversely different relationship that I had to one of the jobs that I hated, Eloise, you know, and that was actually stocking shelves at a grocery store, but it wasn't like fruits and veggies, like organic stuff. It was like potato chips and Slim Jims and beef jerky and Red Bull and Monster and energy drinks and stuff, you know. So there was a lot
Yeah.
of I felt drained, you know. I felt like the life force was being sucked out of me in that job, you know, just staying on my feet. I was pounding down energy drinks at that time just to stay on my feet, you know, to stay awake. But I love that, you
Yeah.
know, that you have a love for what you do and what you're doing for others as well, because, you know, when you're talking about, you know, that you healed yourself, you said you were going through this time, you did your own research, and then you healed yourself. You know, that's amazing just to have the power to say that. Like, I healed myself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, at the end of the day, I've come to learn over and over again. You get reminded that all you have is yourself, and that's, yeah, it's the best. All you have is yourself, because it's the simplest job really that you have to do is just look after yourself. And when you do that, then you can look after everybody else like incredibly. So that's something that I think is worth showing and inspiring other people, is all you have is yourself to look after. And when you look after yourself the best, you're looking after everything else that happens in your life simultaneously, the best that you possibly could. And it's actually, yeah, it's incredible.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. You know, when you pour into your cup, you can pour into others, you know? You can pour into others as well. So when you said that it was amazing, you used the word amazing when you said that this 4-day water fast. You said it was absolutely amazing. Can you describe it? The 4-day water fast, what was that like for you?
It was so easy, and I had so much spare time to do everything creative that I wanted to, and I rested as well. And my sleep, I almost felt like I didn't even need to go to sleep. Like, I yeah, I did actually at times though, because I don't think I was doing raw food when I did the water fast. So for the first day or two, the only discomfort that I did have was in my digestive system, because I did have digestive problems a lot beforehand. So it was almost like I was quite a bit dehydrated probably from the, because I used to eat a lot of like lentils back then and those foods that are kind of quite heavy. So I think it did take probably maybe the first 2 days for my digestive system to calm down. But it was quite easy even to just go through that. It just, yeah, it didn't feel super unpleasant or anything like that. But after that, I was like having super vivid dreams, but also feeling like I didn't need the rest, but my brain just had so much creativity. So I just did art all day and went for walks outside in the forest. And then, yeah, came back and did some more art and played music. And then I would go and take a nap and have like crazy dreams and wake up and feel like I didn't even go to sleep.
Wow. Wow. So
So
just
yeah, just like,
yeah. It's like, it sounds like you were just living in a totally different realm. You're just in a different realm, and then you're in the astral realm, like the lucid dreams and just the vivid, things that you can gather from your dreams, and then waking up refreshed and recharged and ready to go. Yeah.
yeah, and I think the reason why also it felt magnifying this experience was because I had been so sad for like a while of just feeling really beaten up through my digestive issues and my health issues, and then to have the abstinence from the things that were causing me harm for those 4 days completely was just so magnified, that experience as well, because
Okay.
because of, it was like the polar opposite of what was going on in my life. It was like, yeah, it was like the badness and then, wow, complete goodness for 4 days.
Let's see. What a
I was
contrast.
really able to refill my cup, it felt like, yeah.
Yeah, what a contrast, what a contrast. And if somebody's listening to you, Eloise, and they're wondering for themselves, like they've never gone half a day without eating, let alone a full day, let alone 4 days on water, what advice would you give for somebody that has a lot of things that they need to heal, but they're scared, they're kind of wondering how do they embark on that kind of endeavor? Like, how do they do that? What advice would you give?
Oh, something that I love myself is just do what you enjoy. Do things that bring you joy. So for me, like getting out into the forest and walking, I could literally just do that all day, go to sleep, wake up, and be so excited to do that all day again and explore. Like it feels like you don't even need any other nourishment because there's so much that life is giving you just from like this relationship you're having, this information that is being given into your body. So just starting doing things like that, just go on a walk for a few hours. If you love walking in the forest, just walk for a few hours and maybe just analyze a little bit, like, oh, like this is giving me something else, like this is giving me real life force right now, this is really filling my cup right now.
Yes. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So just take notice, observe, be aware, and analyze like how what it is giving. Instead of thinking about what it's taking away, instead of thinking about what it's depriving, think about what it's thriving. Like think about what it's giving you. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's the perspective. That's the perspective. Great advice. Great advice. It sounds like you were so surprised at how much time you had on your hands to do whatever you wanted to do. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Well, Eloise, thank you so much. Just thank you for your testimony. Like, thank you for these messages. Thank you for your expression. Thank you for your fearlessness and just your courage, not only to come on here. You said this was your first live ever?
Yeah.
You're a natural. You're a natural. This is beautiful. We need more of your
So
voice.
many passions.
Yeah.
So many passions.
We need more of your voice. The world needs your voice a lot more. And I thank you just for giving it today. Like, thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me, Jerome.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Maybe we
blessing to you.
will chat again.
Yeah, let's do it again. We
Yeah,
didn't even get it. some of the other things that I know you're interested in. So we'll do it again. Yeah.
For sure. Yay! Oh,
Awesome.
thank you, Jerome. Wow. Beautiful.
And if somebody wants to get in touch with you or just learn more about you, like, would you have yourself available? Should they shoot you a DM if they have questions for you about your lifestyle, about raw foodist? Should they just shoot that through your Instagram?
Absolutely. Please, I love to talk about it. It's my passion. So I love to, make new friends and bounce back ideas like we are ourselves and share experiences
Awesome.
and
Beautiful.
learn from each other.
Beautiful. That's what it's about. That connection. That connection. So, take care. Till next time. Till next time, my
You
friend.
too, Jerome. Till next time, everyone. Bye.
Much love. Take care.
Thanks for joining. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.